You are listening to episode 59 of the Autism Mom Coach, Parental Burnout Awareness. In honor of Autism Awareness Month, I am shining a light on parental burnout because behind every child with autism are parents who are often struggling with fear, anxiety, and overwhelm as they do everything they can to support their child and little to nothing to support themselves. And this all leads to burnout. That is why I am offering a free webinar this month called Overcoming Burnout in 5 Simple Steps. To learn more about parental burnout and how you can register for this webinar, keep listening. Welcome to the Autism Mom Coach, a podcast for moms who feel overwhelmed, afraid, and sometimes powerless as they raise their child with autism. My name is Lisa Candera. I'm a certified life coach, lawyer, and most importantly, I'm a full-time single mom to a teenage boy with autism. In this podcast, I'll show you how to transform your relationship with autism and special needs parenting. You'll learn how to shift away from being a victim of your circumstances to being the hero of the story you get to write. Let's get started. Welcome to the podcast, everyone. I hope you are doing well and enjoying the spring weather. This is the first solo podcast for me of April, so I am excited to talk to all of you. Let's talk about burnout, which is what I have been researching for the past few weeks. Sounds like fun, right? And it's actually been, I wouldn't say fun, but it's been a bit validating because the research has really confirmed a lot of what I already believed to be true. Not in a confirmation bias kind of way, but more in a felt sense kind of way from my experience as a sibling and a parent of a person with autism, as well as a life coach for moms raising kids with autism. And what I learned, burnout levels among parents raising kids with autism is higher than the average. And this is not surprising to any of us, right? The expectations, the uncertainty, the lack of support, the fear of the future. The thing I find more surprising is that while burnout among parents raising kids with autism is recognized, there's really nothing being done about it. And I think that this is a really missing piece of the treatment of our children. Our well-being should be at the forefront of their treatment because we are the drivers of their treatment. We are their long-term caregivers. And if we burn out, how can we possibly help them? And so by just telling us to refill our cups or put on our oxygen mask first, that is not helpful to me. It's almost insulting because how the actual fuck am I supposed to do that with all of these responsibilities? And this is really at the heart of how I found coaching as a client and why I was so drawn to teaching what I learned as a client to moms raising kids with autism, because there are little to no resources focused on us and how we can support ourselves. And for me, I know I got to the point where I felt like I was drowning. And my question was, how am I going to keep doing this? And I will say that life coaching really changed everything for me because it gave me a really different way at looking at my circumstances. Not in a positive affirmations bullshit kind of a way, but in a way that is more empowering and supportive of how I want to show up as a parent. And a great example of this shift is in how I think about burnout. Before coaching, I thought of burnout as something that was happening to me. I'm burnt out because my child has autism, because he requires more care, because I work full time, because I'm single, because I'm always advocating for him, because there's always another therapy or doctor's appointment, because we can never get the meds right, and on and on and on. But the truth is, none of those reasons is why I was burnt out. Yes, they were factors, but that's not the reason. It's not the diagnosis. It's not the to-do list. It's not your in-laws who don't help or who don't get it. That is not what is causing your burnout. And this is good news Because when we are looking at burnout as being the result of things that we can't control, this is really disempowering. But the truth is, burnout is a cycle and you can interrupt it. And I'm going to show you how in this training. So register now, April 20th at 6 p.m. Eastern. You can register by going to my website or to the show notes. As part of the webinar, I'm going to teach you where burnout falls in the self-coaching model and how you can use the self-coaching model to interrupt your cycle of burnout. I'm also going to be answering questions and doing some free coaching for whoever shows up and is brave enough to raise their hand. So far, I have coached on a lot of interesting topics, from nail clippings to dentist office visits to in-laws. Register now for the final offering of Overcoming Burnout for the month of April, and I will see you there. Thanks, and I'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening to the Autism Mom Coach. If you want more information or the show notes and resources from the podcast, visit theautismmomcoach.com. See you next week.